Welcome to the Deep Dive. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself solving a complex problem effortlessly, or maybe inventing something entirely new.
Or maybe just daydreaming, right? Lost in some amazing inner world.
Exactly. Or perhaps you're just lost in a vivid daydream, wandering through imaginary landscapes. What is that incredible inner world, that mental space we call imagination?
Yeah, what is it really? Is it just fantasy?
Or is there something much, much deeper going on, driving everything we do? Today, we're taking a deep dive into the science of human imagination. We've dug through a ton of fascinating research, including some cutting-edge AI-driven scientific studies, actually. And our mission is simple: to give you a shortcut to being truly well-informed about what imagination actually is. This isn't just about art or storytelling,
Not at all. We're going to see how deeply it's woven into our neural networks, how we solve problems every day.
And even some really profound philosophical questions about consciousness itself.
It's really the core of what makes us human. We'll explore the brain's incredible ability to tinker with ideas, seeing how imagination acts as the very engine of creativity and problem solving.
Right.
We'll also touch on its surprising philosophical ties, and then confront its dual nature, its immense power for good, but also its potential for ill in society.
And here's where it gets really interesting. We'll see the transformative impact of AI on our understanding of all of this. Get ready for some serious aha moments.
And maybe a few surprising facts you haven't considered before.
Okay, let's unpack this. So, what exactly is this incredible power we call imagination? Most of us think it's just seeing pictures in our head, right?
Yeah, mental images.
But our sources reveal it's something far more active, far more powerful. It's an active, constructive process where your neural circuits don't just recall information.
No, they actually combine and modify stored memories and concepts in novel ways. It's about creating original mental objects and even, speculative scenarios.
So it's not just retrieval, it's active creation.
And that creation element is key because our sources highlight that imagination is essentially our brain's internal flight simulator.
A flight simulator. Oh.
Yeah. It allows you to literally pre-live experiences and test possibilities in your mind before you ever act in the real world. Think of it as a low-stakes rehearsal space.
That makes sense. So you can try things out mentally first.
Exactly. This makes it profoundly adaptive for planning, for solving complex problems, and for all kinds of abstract thought. It's a central, evolved faculty for navigating and shaping reality itself.
That's a powerful way to put it. So, if imagination is about combining and modifying things in novel ways, how does the brain actually pull that off? Is there a specific part of the brain that's doing all this incredible tinkering?
Well, that's a fantastic question, and it brings us right to the default mode network, or DMN.
The DMN. Okay.
You might have heard of it. It's that crucial brain network that's surprisingly active, even when your brain is at rest, like when you're mind-wandering or just daydreaming.
So when you're not focused on anything specific.
Yeah, precisely. And the DMN isn't just one spot. It's a whole network of connected brain areas, including the precuneus, posterior cingulate cortex, and medial prefrontal cortex. Think of it as your brain's dedicated internal what-if engine.
Wow.
Even when you're just daydreaming, it's constantly rehearsing the future, reliving the past, stepping into someone else's shoes, theory of mind.
Right.
And even navigating virtual spaces in your mind. All of these are ways your brain simulates scenarios beyond the immediate present.
So it's essentially our brain's deep thinker, even when we're not actively thinking about anything specific. And this incredible flexibility in the brain leads to something our sources call the tinkering process.
Yes, tinkering.
What exactly does that mean for how our brains put ideas together?
It means your brain is a master tinkerer. Functional modules, or FMs, basically existing neural circuits, are constantly assembled and reassembled.
Wow.
Our sources call this exaptation and redeployment. Imagine using a hammer not just for nails, but suddenly as a lever to move something heavy.
Ah, yeah, okay, using an old tool for a new job.
That's it. That's your brain redeploying circuits, using existing tools for entirely new jobs. It's how the brain allows existing functions to be repurposed for new imaginative ones.
That's a great analogy, repurposing. And this inherent flexibility is what makes imagination the engine of problem solving and creativity.
Absolutely.
Think about the visualization of possibilities. Imagination allows you to mentally simulate various scenarios and their potential outcomes before you take any physical action.
That pre-living idea again.
Right. It's like pre-living scenarios for better strategizing. It makes you wonder how many bad decisions we don't make because our imagination lets us fail virtually first.
That's a good point.
And Albert Einstein famously underscored this by stating, imagination is more important than knowledge, highlighting how truly groundbreaking solutions often emerge from envisioning what doesn't yet exist.
Which makes you wonder, how do we break free from rigid cognitive frameworks? Imagination helps us do exactly that, to think outside the box. It also fuels hypothetical scenarios, or counterfactual thinking, that what-if thinking. A perfect historical example is the conceptualization of the electric car.
Oh, right.
That arose from imagining a vehicle not reliant on gasoline. That seemingly simple what-if led to a significant technological innovation we're still benefiting from today.
And it really enhances what's called mental flexibility, or cognitive flexibility. Our sources explain that engaging in imaginative activities actually fosters your capacity to switch between different modes of thinking.
Seamlessly blending logical analysis and creative ideation as needed. Yeah.
Now, imagination isn't just for adults. Its developmental trajectory begins very early. In childhood, imaginative playthings like pretend play and make-believe
Super important.
is absolutely crucial for developing creativity, independence, problem-solving, cognitive, social, emotional, and language skills. Jean Piaget highlighted how this symbolic thought blossoms in early childhood.
Right, his pre-operational stage.
While Maria Montessori emphasized the development of conscious imagination in later childhood, where kids start to intentionally use their imagination for learning and exploration.
It's important to understand that imagination doesn't simply dull in adulthood. It shifts.
It changes. How so?
Well, our sources indicate that adult imagination tends to become more detailed and original, enhanced by our accumulated knowledge and experience.
So experience feeds it.
Exactly. It remains essential for fostering flexibility, openness, and the capacity to tolerate uncertainty in our ever-changing world. It's truly a continuous, lifelong, adaptive mechanism.
This brings us to some of the big questions, the philosophical and conceptual frameworks of imagination. This is where it gets really interesting, as imagination deeply connects to the mind, consciousness, and reality itself.
Yeah, the deep stuff.
This has led to the classic mind-body problem. Is imagination purely a product of the physical brain, like just neurons firing? Or does it suggest a deeper connection to a non-material consciousness?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it ties directly into David Tolmer's concept of the hard problem of consciousness.
The hard problem. Remind us what that is.
It asks how physical processes, neurons, electricity, chemicals, give rise to subjective, qualitative experiences, what philosophers call qualia, the feeling of red, the taste of chocolate.
The actual experience of imagining something.
Precisely. This is the crucial point where AI's mechanical creativity, which generates creative outputs based on data, fundamentally differs from genuine human imagination.
How so?
Because human imagination involves an internal felt experience. AI doesn't feel the vividness of a daydream or the emotional punch of a story it generated. It lacks that subjective internal world.
Got it. It can mimic the output, but not the inner experience.
Exactly.
And it's fascinating to see how this concept of imagination is explored across global thought, not just in Western traditions. In the West, for example, Plato saw imagination as a kind of bridge to eternal, perfect forms.
Like a way to glimpse truths beyond our everyday reality.
Right. Now, contrast that with Hinduism's concept of Maya.
Maya, yeah. The illusionary nature of the world, including what we perceive through imagination. It suggests that overcoming these illusions is necessary for enlightenment.
Interesting. And Buddhism.
Well, in Buddhism, imagination is viewed as both a creative force and a potential source of suffering if we attach to imagined concepts. Yet it's also a powerful tool for cultivating insight and compassion through visualization.
So it's acknowledged everywhere, but the meaning really shifts.
It shifts dramatically, which has crucial implications when we talk about AI and potential biases and how it's designed and used, Cultural context matters.
Absolutely. And what about the very logic of imagination? Because it seems like imagination can do things that logic can't. It feels looser.
You're absolutely right. This is where imagination gets really interesting because it doesn't follow strict either logic. Our sources explain it uses what's called hyper-intentional logic.
Hyper what?
Hyper-intentional, which basically means your imagination understands things based on how you perceive them, not just their objective reality.
Okay, give me an example.
Take the classic one, Lois Lane. She can imagine Superman being in love with her without imagining Clark Kent being in love with her, right?
Because she doesn't know they're the same guy.
Exactly. Even though logically Superman eyes Clark Kent, her imagination accommodates that perceived difference. It works with her subjective understanding.
So it's possible to imagine a scenario that is logically contradictory, like from an outside view, without the whole imaginative act just collapsing.
Precisely. That capacity to explore possibilities not strictly entailed by logic is crucial for creativity. It allows for generating novel hypotheses and solutions that don't yet exist in reality. It lets you play with what ifs that strict logic would dismiss.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. This brings us to AI's transformative role, how it helps us understand and even influences imagination.
Yeah, AI is really changing the game here.
AI models are already mimicking imagination in impressive ways. Think about large language models and generative adversarial networks, LLMs and JANs.
Right, generating art, music, stories.
Even projects like Obvious Collective's Imagine use fMRI data to reconstruct imagined images. It's wild.
It is wild, but again, it's important to stress this is still mechanical creativity lacking subjective experience.
Right, no qualia.
No qualia. AI doesn't possess that subjective feeling that defines human imagination. However, AI is rapidly becoming an indispensable metacognitive tool in scientific discovery.
A metacognitive tool. How so?
Well, it can process vast data sets, generate scientific hypotheses, sometimes even outperforming human grad students, apparently, and conduct research in virtual labs.
Wow, so it accelerates the process of discovery.
Hugely. And what's truly powerful is how AI forces researchers to formalize their theories about imagination. You have to be really precise to model it.
Ah, makes sense. It exposes assumptions.
Exactly, and that accelerates discovery.
Yeah.
It also aids human understanding through knowledge representation, encoding information to mirror human thought. Think about AI-powered visualization tools.
Like concept maps generated by AI.
Yeah, tools like Concept Map AI or adraw.ai that turn abstract concepts into clear diagrams, enhancing memory and critical thinking, makes complex ideas easier to grasp.
So the natural next question is, how does AI help us understand the why behind cognitive processes? Not just what happens, but why.
Right, and this is where causal AI comes in.
Causal AI.
It has the ability to identify cause and effect relationships, moving beyond mere correlations to explain why outcomes occur. This is invaluable for understanding complex cognitive processes like imagination.
Because you get explanations you can actually trust and use.
Exactly, moving beyond just patterns to understanding mechanisms.
Okay, now human imagination is truly a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
With profound societal implications.
Oh, absolutely. Massive potential for good and bad.
On one hand, it's a huge driver of societal change. Collective imagination shapes cultural narratives, symbols, traditions.
Think about visionary leaders and artists.
Right, like President Franklin Roosevelt renaming fear. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, and inspiring a nation. Or Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s powerful vision for a just society with his I Have a Dream speech.
Powerful examples. And art, too, like Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Which galvanized abolitionist sentiment, and Picasso's Guernica, capturing the horrors of war in a way nothing else could. Our sources call this sociogenesis.
Communities galvanized by a shared vision. Yeah. Imagination uses cultural resources, stories, language to shape that collective consciousness.
But the dual nature is stark. Leaders throughout history.
Oh, yeah. Philip II, Queen Elizabeth, Hitler, Stalin, Mao. They've all used propaganda through art, biased communication, symbols, slogans to manipulate collective imagination.
Stirring emotions, shaping perceptions without, actual rational persuasion.
Exactly. Even the Rosie the Riveter campaign, while seen as a positive example mobilizing women for the war effort, showed this powerful harnessing of imagination for a societal shift. It can be used either way.
And this leads to imagination's dangerous role in extremism and radicalization.
That's a dark side. It contributes to forming really far-fetched beliefs within cults and conspiracy groups where fantasies of secret knowledge are mistaken for reality.
And the sources say active participation can blur the line between pretense and actuality, leading to real delusion.
Which makes you wonder how imagination contributes to xenophobia and dehumanization.
How does that work?
Well, it plays a role in forming stereotypical beliefs and projecting perceived threats onto others. You imagine them as a threat, which can lead to dehumanization, like blaming outgroups for disease or misfortune.
Building that enemy image based on imagined fears.
Often fueled by intense hatred, yeah.
Given this dual nature, this idea of moral imagination becomes absolutely essential. Our sources define moral imagination as the ability to envision the ethical implications of one's actions, considering various perspectives and potential consequences.
Like stepping into someone else's shoes, ethically speaking.
Right. For example, an advertising agency CEO brainstorming solutions to an unethical client request, not just saying yes. Or a company like Nestle creating healthier alternatives instead of just targeting children with sugary ads, thinking about the impact.
Digging deeper, moral imagination is vital in conflict resolution. It helps people break free from entrenched positions by envisioning new possibilities.
Like through specific techniques.
Yeah, using techniques like brainstorming and role-playing, John Paul Lederach, a peace-building scholar, talks about moral imagination in peace-building
Okay.
as involving envisioning oneself in a web of relationships, including enemies, to transcend violence and create something new, something that doesn't yet exist. It's about imagining a different, peaceful future together.
Wow. That's powerful. Imagining peace even with your enemies.
It takes immense moral imagination.
Finally, let's look at the harmony with nature in our future vision. Because imagination isn't just for social change. It's the bedrock of hypothesis generation.
The generator of new possibilities across all of science. Absolutely.
In genetics and biology, imagination led to understanding motility from studying amoeba, or biochemistry from looking at microbes, seeing the small to understand the big.
And it fuels these revolutionary loops in physics and mathematics. Einstein's theory of general relativity needed the imaginative mathematical framework of Riemannian geometry. It wasn't just sitting there.
You had to imagine that connection.
Yes, and Newton had to invent calculus just to analyze motion. Paul Dirac's delta function, a concept that didn't strictly make sense mathematically at the time, spurred the entire theory of distributions.
So sometimes imagination leads the math.
It can. Even string theory, with its, 10 dimensions and exotic Calabi-Yau manifolds, became a playground for mathematicians, pushing the boundaries of what we can even conceive.
These examples really show that imagination lets scientists conceive of what doesn't yet exist and then rigorously test those conceptions against reality.
It's that engine again.
So what does this all mean for humanity? Why do we need imagination? It seems obvious, but let's spell it out.
Well, it's fundamental to our survival and adaptation, letting us pre-live scenarios. It's the engine of problem solving and innovation.
Right. It helps us create meaning and purpose through shared narratives, builds social cohesion and empathy.
And it drives our continuous development throughout life. It's deeply intertwined with everything we are. We wouldn't be human without it.
Which brings us to perhaps the most compelling point for cultivating a prosperous human AI society. What do we need to do?
We need to actively foster healthy imagination, from childhood play right through adulthood, promoting creativity and openness in learning. See it as a vital, lifelong skill.
Okay, foster human imagination. What about the AI side?
Critically, we must guide ethical AI development. That means addressing AI bias, developing explainable AI XAI for transparency.
So we know why AI does what it does.
Exactly. And integrating moral imagination into AI design somehow, and preventing AI-driven manipulation through critical thinking education and technical safeguards.
That's a tall order. We also need to navigate cultural differences, right? Using things like imagined intergroup contact.
Which is basically using imagination to picture positive interactions with other groups to reduce prejudice. And our sources advocate for a whole-of-society approach to counter extremism, good governance, community engagement, education, strategic communications.
It takes everyone.
It really does. The best possible scenario here is a harmonious integration where ethical AI amplifies human imagination for global well-being.
What does that future look like?
Well, it includes electing leaders with moral imagination, promoting diverse cultural expressions, responsibly leveraging AI for discovery, and crucially, using our collective imagination to understand and respect nature's rules for a balanced universe.
So AI helps us, but guided by human values and imagination.
The ultimate purpose is ensuring that human results, those outcomes that benefit all of humanity and nature, are achieved through this collaborative power.
As we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that human imagination is just this profound, multifaceted force.
It really is. From its deep neural roots and philosophical depths to its dual power in shaping society.
And now how AI is both a tool for understanding it and a force that demands its ethical cultivation, it's truly astonishing.
Mind-boggling, really.
So here's something for you to think about. What new possibilities can you imagine for our shared future? How can your imagination, combined perhaps with responsible AI, help envision and create new, beneficial rules for a collective future?
How can we foster global harmony and ensure humanity's highest aspirations are achieved?
Something to mull over until our next deep dive.
This is DigitView.